Hello YouTube, how you doing? It's Wardy here with another cast from the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice group stages. I was shocked and horrified when this one didn't make it to the mainstream. It was covered on the B stream instead, but boy is it two amazing players. In the bottom right hand side of Simulacrum for map number 1, our red Zerg is Dark, and he is taking on the blue Protoss in the top left hand side of the map, Stats. I mean, Dark and Stats in Intel Extreme Masters itself just have a rich history. Now, these guys have played in semi-finals before, these guys have played all the time, and they are just two legends of the game in general, right? I mean, they're both champions in their own respect. It's just crazy that this one didn't make it to mainstream for me, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because Dark is coming in as the defending BlizzCon champion, so he definitely is someone who, you know, there's something to say about this guy, right? He's got something to prove, show us that he's more than just that one-time tournament winner. Now, we know, of course, he is more than just that, right? You know, Dark is this player who has come second place so many times he could actually rival Sue if the storyline was written differently. But he can do very, very well. Is he still on form? Because Dark is the player we've probably seen least of in the off-season. We didn't even have to watch him in the qualifiers for this tournament because he was already invited. Now, Stats has actually been a little bit hit and miss, making it look good some days, other days not looking quite so hot. So, kind of a match between two players whose form is kind of a little bit up in the air. Now, if you do end up enjoying this video, guys, do of course hit that like button. Help us beat the YouTube algorithm, and comment down below as well. Be like, Woody, you didn't cast a Terran player today. And I'll be like, I know! And I'll be a little bit shocked and horrified, but, you know, sometimes we've got to do PvZ as well, guys. And of course, if you don't already subscribe to the channel, please do consider subscribing. We upload a video every single day lately. In fact, we have not missed a video upload this year so far. We've got loads of great games lined up on the Twitch stream. If you want to watch them live, obviously feel free, but we upload the best of those over here on the YouTube channel as well. So absolutely, I would recommend you guys kind of checking it out and, you know, hitting that subscribe button, because we only have more great content to come. God damn, guys, it's early. I don't think I've ever done a YouTube cast before 9 AM before, but I'm just very motivated and up early the last couple days, so I'm trying to make my voice work so early in the morning. I guess that's another challenge to just waking up. Anyways, this game, Stats versus Dark, game number 1. And you can see already the Stargate coming up here from Stats in the main base, so already choosing to go for a pretty regular opening. Now, during the IEM Katowice, we saw a ton of Resonating Glaive build orders. Now, from the start, this isn't Resonating Glaives straight up. Of course, there is some potential to play maybe like an Oracle or two into Glaives. That has been a thing in the past. It's not quite the Glaives opening that we saw a ton of during the tournament, so we'll see what Stats chooses to do. For me, this is probably more likely just Triple Oracle, because Stats really does love Triple Oracle as a playstyle. Remember, he was one of the players that really popularized it during Aces ROG in August of last year, to eventually take down that championship, and that was Stats' last major victory. So definitely kind of expecting that possibility. The Stalker already suggests there's not going to be a Phoenix here, as the two Adepts are negotiating out onto the map, so Stats feels safe enough to try and get out and deal some damage. Hasn't been too active with these already. Saw the earlier third hatchery, and that was about it. I think that might have even been with the probe, as we do have the two Adepts coming over, the Queen pressing forwards, and the two Adepts can shade on by in towards this main base. The Queen's going to go and run around after them, but the Adepts commit into the shade. Well, the Adepts don't commit into the shade. In fact, they just head back home. First Oracle's out, and that is used for high ground vision, so the Overlord is shot down by the Stalker as well. And there's Oracle number 2 on the way now. No tech structure just yet. Triple rest Oracle definitely can. Well, there's actually a second gateway already, so I feel like this is going to be a triple Oracle build indeed. And there it is. Third Oracle starts up. Now, Dark's going to choose for an early Evo Chamber. Now, this is something you've not seen too much of as of late either. An early Evo Chamber in ZvP typically means a melee upgrade, and that's just a little bit off from what, you know, off from the norm, I guess. It's not like completely, oh my god, what the hell are you doing? But it is absolutely a bit of an older school style. You get those melee upgrades early, you're going to play a lot of Ling Bane here in the early stages of the game, of course. Typically, that used to lead into Hydras. We'll see what Dark has planned. Obviously, in the newer, I say the new patch, it's been out for a while, but now Ling Bane Hydra can transition into Lurkers, which are a bit better than before. So there's a few options. There's already the Baneling Nest dropping down here from Dark, and behind this, Stats just did drop down the Robo Facility. So going in towards the ability to make immortals, etc. as a follow-up here. And both these players are just setting up on 3 bases because Stats is starting to expand. His Adepts have made it back home. Very cautious play out of Stats in terms of these Adepts. They didn't really move too far forwards. Just kind of threatening on the edge of group spread, making sure Dark makes a few Zerglings and isn't just droning. As you see these Oracles trying to press in, but the Queen's very quick to deflect them. So the triple Oracle play for the moment, not really achieving all that much. As the third Nexus will finish up very soon. And there is the Twilight Council and a Forge as well for Stats to continue the tech tree down in towards... I mean, imagine you just move in towards like charge or so here, right? 5:30 in the game, you've gone triple Oracle, probably just charge a Mortal Archon. Not really any need to do anything too crazy. He might go for faster Templar Archives and really prioritize the Storm here if he can figure out what's going on. He hasn't seen any Roaches yet. As he flies in the main base, he sees a lair on the way now. Still no Roachron, but also no sign of this Bane Nest or Evo Chamber. Nice for that to be tucked away in the back. If he could know that this was a Baneling-focused army, Storm is absolutely going to become a priority. And he does get Templar Archives pretty quickly anyways, even before we've seen an Immortal start up in building. So maybe Stats just has a good idea, right? You've got to remember, he's also seen everything that's on the map here. He is realizing, oh, there's just Zerglings on the map. There's no Roaches at all. And as you realize that more and more, the idea of moving in towards those, you know, Archon/Storm becomes a bit more viable. One of the Oracles gets shot down. I was watching this run by to check if it was going to be dealt with, and it is dealt with pretty well. And Stats picks up a few more drones. Banelings show up. Those are some clutch force fields. Oh my god, you're kidding me. How many of these probes just survived here? Shield battery working overtime to get them healed back up on the shields. That wouldn't matter if one of these Banelings was still able to get in and connect, but the units here should be good to deflect that. That's nice little movement there from Stats. Nice really paying attention to the moment, because that was obviously at the same time as this little run by. Dark trying to get in there and deal some damage, but great force fields to stop, you know, too many Banelings connecting. And now we do see Storm on the way. So Stats is making the correct moves in terms of his tech tree. And, well, +2 melee, Baneling speed. Hydralisk's on the way out as well. Everything we kind of expected this to be from Dark so far. As we do see the Oracles are just here and there, the two of them finding an extra couple drones. I mean, throughout the course of the game, you've lost an Oracle and you've killed off 10 drones. You've killed off a bunch of Zerglings as well because you've defended well. Resources lost is absolutely on Stats' side, who has moved into 3 bases pretty much unharmed. He's actually had a pretty good game so far. He's starting to push onto the map, which I'm not convinced about because this army is not exactly great. It's not like there's loads of Zealots here or anything with the charge that he's been investing into. He's investing into a Storm that isn't done just yet. I much prefer the idea of just Archon dropping and trying to use this Archon drop to deal some damage and to keep Dark busy in these earlier stages of the game. And here we do have the 2 Archons pressing forwards already now, and they're going to go straight in after this Overlord, and it is, oh, so close. Though not quite enough. This Overlord will survive for the moment. And Zergling's back over toward the 4th base here, and the Archon's coming back in towards the low ground as well. Just, again, try and keep Dark busy. For Stats, it's not too important to actually deal damage with this. More important just to, again, keep Dark kind of pinned back, make it more difficult for him to justify run-bys. A couple Hydras is nice, right? But you're not, you know, those couple Hydras don't change the game. What is nice is that Dark has to focus here. He's not on the map. He's not sending up an attack from here, here, and here at the same time. So those sort of multi-pronged aggressive attacks, they're just being held back a bit. And I guess we're not going to see any of those until at least Hydra speed kicks in. What is worth noting is that Dark is kind of pretty solid on 71 drones, and that is it. You know, he's not going anywhere else. So he's not being drawn up to like 80 or 85, which sometimes you see for Lingbane Hydra to then trade and trade and trade. And he's not making any signs of teching up either. So he's really sitting on this composition, which really suggests this next fight is going to be a big one from Dark. And he's absolutely looking to do some real damage with this. A few Zealots of Stats were making their way around the map to harass. He does recall those out of there alive. The Baneling's already set up here. First Storm dropping down, hits a good amount of Lings on the left-hand side. Doesn't want to use the rest of his Storms just yet on what was a lower number of Banelings just coming in 1 or 2 at a time. But this is kind of nice because he stopped some of the Banelings from morphing in. And that alone is a little bit frustrating. Maybe these Archons could come and get healed up by the shield battery and just get their shields ready to go for the next fight again, because that might happen pretty soon as the Warp Prism is back over to the right-hand side. Blink on the way from Stats. This is more of a Broodlord precaution than anything else, because Blink is really not good against Lingbane Hydra. Hold that thought, though, as we do have the Lingbane Hydra attacking. Not really much of a multi-prong here, actually just a small group of Banelings. And that's kind of it. The Storms on the top side have annihilated so many of the Zerglings. Some force fields here. Well, they would have helped out if the Archons didn't then bust them down moments later. This was just not a good attack from Dark. He obviously felt like he could get a lot done moving in towards that mineral line, but he didn't really do much at all, and only Hydras left over. It's not great when there's still Immortals and Archons left standing. New High Temple already warping in, so Storms will be ready again in 20 to 30 seconds. And yes, Stats takes a big win in this fight. This was not the sort of fight you wanted from Dark at all. All from one direction. Obviously felt like he had an opportunity, a moment to take advantage of there. But yeah, the Storms in that mineral line were absolutely critical, and Stats was able to clean up so many Zerglings because of that. And then there was just no Banelings. Yeah, there was that one group of Banelings that got stormed here and ran into like a single Archon, and that was it. The Zealots on the top side just went unharassed and unnoticed, and well, Stats actually has a huge win there. And like I mentioned, Dark only just recently went above 80 workers. I mean, just went above 80 now, but he only just recently started adding workers on, and that means he's not really had a huge bank to play with here. A lot of this attack was really focused on being maxed out on a bit of a larger army than usual with Lingbane Hydra, and just straight up going for this. I mean, he's able to rebuild, but Stats has had 80 plus, 80-ish workers himself. So Stats has had a good economy, plus the fact he's traded way better, 11,000, 12,000 to 7,000 as he goes into this fight. There's a few Zealots that can hit this base at the same time. Dark is responding to that, as those Zealots were a little bit slow to move on forwards. I mean, Stats just keeps pushing forwards here. There's no Banelings to really slow him down, so these Zealots are having a great time. I mean, this hatchery is just going to die. Stats even dropping a Storm on the drone line, and that is a massacre. Couple of extra Banes going in, a couple of Zealots being picked away at, but this is really over, and Stats is going to take a game. Number one as Dark just picks a fight or two. Well, I mean, not even a fight or two. Picks a fight, which he just cannot win, and that is not the way to do this. Stats goes up 1-0 in this best of 3, and Dark with some work to do going into our second map here in a few moments. A game number 2 here on Eternal Empire, and starting off in the bottom left-hand side, the Zerg player who needs a victory right now. This is Dark. And in the top right, our blue Protoss, we do have Stats, who is looking to sweep the floor with Dark 2-0. That's impressive if you ask me. Like I say, it's kind of hard to know the kind of form of these players going into the event or so. Just players that have been pretty well hidden. Stats isn't much of an online player anymore. Never really was, but he did play in some stuff here and there. But we've really seen not much of Stats outside of the WSG and IEM qualifiers. And quite frankly, in WSG qualifiers, he got smacked down. IEM qualifiers, I was actually looking, it felt as though he would never qualify. He lost to Risky in one of the first ones. And then he actually just bopped some people in one of the Korean ones to just qualify. And I was like, I was shocked. That was, for me, not an expected result at all when Stats just kind of powered his way through that side of the bracket. And then Dark, like I said, he didn't have to play in IEM qualifiers. He played in WSG qualifiers. But, I mean, we're talking WSG qualifiers are like 3 months ago at this point. So that's kind of how long it's been since we've seen Dark in a major tournament. He showed up to a couple of Kung Fu Cups at $400 weekly, and he played all right there. There's some serious money on the line. But he also didn't win one. Like, he got a couple top 4 finishes or so. But he got beaten by Cure. He got beaten by Patience. So Dark has not really been a player who's been shown too much of himself either in recent months. So I know I kind of said this in the first game as well, but it really does stand true that you kind of got to kind of base it on the last time we saw these guys. And again, the last time I saw Stats, I was kind of shocked he qualified. And the last time I saw Dark, he was kind of killing everybody. So for me, for Stats to come in and actually look pretty convincing in game 1, there's not really any trouble at any point. Great force fields throughout the game. Blocked off some Banelings here, stopped himself taking major damage, dealt with all the run-by attempts, and absolutely destroyed the major fight. For Stats to look so good against Dark in game 1 is impressive to me. So, loving Stats' skill. I mean, it's always great to watch Stats play, don't get me wrong. He is an absolute fan favorite as well. And I always cheer for Stats. It's just for me, again, like I say, it's not so much about who I want to cheer for here. It's just, if I think about who's going to win this, I think I would have said Dark every single time. Would I have said Dark 2-0? Probably not. But I would have taken like a Dark victory, I think 9 times out of 10 going into this. So, see if Dark can turn it around. As Stats here, Stargate opening on Eternal Empire. Nice large map. Definitely plays a bit differently to the last. Lingbane Hydra on this map can be a bit more, it can be effective as well. I'm not going to say more effective because it works in a different way. This is absolutely a larger map. So it's, if you're going to play Lingbane Hydra, typically you will go to 80 or 85 drones rather than cutting at 70 like Dark did last game. And you really will just play for kind of run-bys into the third base while trying to hit in this open fourth here. and just trying to kind of take fights like that, running by into this natural expansion too. That's generally going to be your goal. If Dark plays in the same way, that's obviously still yet to be determined as well. As for the moment, Stats is playing the exact same opener as what we saw in game number 1. Stargate building Oracle, Stalker already on the way out to help against the Overlord. And that probably says we're going to see at least no Phoenix here. Although, of course, we could see something different from the triple Oracle either way. He can play double Oracle into a tech choice, for example. Double Oracle into a... double Oracle into, you know what I'm trying to say. Into like a Temple Archives Archon drop or so. So that's an option too. We will see. The second gate's already being added on. And for me, that already says sort of like, hey, I'm going to, build a third Oracle here before I throw down any tech or anything. So getting that up and ready to go. And we just kind of wait around for these Oracles to get ready to deal some damage. Now, Dark has not had an Evo Chamber on yet. I'm not sure what the exact timing was in game number 1, but every second that passes by sort of says more and more this idea that Dark is probably not going to go in towards an Evo Chamber and a melee upgrade early in the game. Typically, you want to get those melee upgrades started early because you're really looking to hit +2 ASAP. Because +2 is when those Balins become really terrifying to the work account. Balins will then one-shot probes, and that really is terrifying. And they get so much better against Zealots, etc. too, so you generally want those melee upgrades very early. And this being just a super quick lair off of no tech structure down. Okay, there's the Rotron. Obviously, Rotron does build faster than the lair. So it had to be something like that, unless he was going to try and go like mega fast Hydralisks or something crazy. So Dark here just going to play into Roaches. Now he is still droning, so there's no threat of kind of a big Roach attack or anything with Roach speed just yet. I mean, obviously the lair sort of says no to that anyways, in terms of a big Roach attack before Roach speed, and obviously Roach speed takes a while to upgrade. So yeah, not really any signs from Dark as to what this may be for the moment. We do have the few Oracles. They are still flying around up this top side, and they are trying to see what they might be able to get up to. But again, Dark's defense is pretty good. Stats in the last game didn't do damage with these Oracles right away, mind you. It was like 2 or 3 drones here, 2 or 3 drones there, and by the end of it all, he'd killed 10 workers for the 1 Oracle, and it was a very slow process for Stats, but again, it's a slow process that eventually gets the job done. Comes in here, gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a little bit better. He actually baited the Queens down towards the main base. By moving down this side, the Queens are essentially saying, oh god, we got to get in the main base to defend. So that pulls them down a little bit. Obviously, they're not fully committed to the main, but it means they're out of position to really defend the top side of the natural expansion mineral line. And that's kind of what just happened, so that's why Stats was able to get 5 workers more than he was able to get in the last game. Good Oracle movement. It's these little things that make these players so great, right? Because these 3 Oracles couldn't have initially just flown in there and gotten that damage done, not at all. It was so much about how Stats set it up initially, and he flies back in for 6 more drones. There's some serious damage being done. There's an infestation pit already coming up from Dark. He's going to drop the Nidus network as well, and we are going to move through in towards Swarm Hosts here. So going to move in towards Swarm Hosts, and that's just his tech choice from the very beginning. Now, double hallucinated Phoenix. Stats very serious about scouting what is coming his way, and he will fly right over it. Nidus network and the infestation pit seen. So Stats gets full info on what's being built right now. He should know what's happening. As Dark will take a 4th base, have a few extra drones on the way to start saturating that. But Stats will have to get ready to deal with these Niduses very quickly. Now, the triple Oracle's still alive. Oh, he lost one of them. But 2 Oracles still alive is important, because then it means that you already have 2 Oracles that are so good at helping to shut down the Nidus networks. And that's going to be a pretty major play in the long term here for Stats. Now, the problem is, of course, identifying where those Nidus networks are. And this Warp Prism is on its way over. Okay, he actually already sees it. So the Oracles will activate. It's a lot of that energy already kind of used up, but it's already buying you a little bit of time here where the Swarm Host can't come out. Remember that Nidus is then on cooldown for 14 seconds from the first point it starts to build. So it does take a little bit longer. This next Nidus is a bit further out here. That might be a little bit harder to find for Stats. He does have a good set of units here defending these few Zerglings. He will see the Nidus, but a bit too late to really do much about it. He might be able to force early Locusts. Yeah, he's going to force a few Locusts to jump down onto Archons, which is quite nice. Stats is actually going to start taking this fight. Drops a couple of force fields, but that's too many Locusts surely for him to fight. These Adepts already in trouble. The Zealot's going down. And the Archon's being microed nicely here, and Stats will survive it. Next Nidus to the right-hand side is going to be denied. There's one already on the top here, of course. This one did survive. The Archons will come back to clean that up. These Archons are low on shields, though, so you have to be very, very careful with those right now. Else you might fall into some trouble. These Zealots might be able to deny this upper side. Nidus says, oh no, Ling's in the main base, though. They're going to get through to the natural, so run by here from Dark. Already going to shut down a pylon. That's double Robo unpowered, or one of the two Robos unpowered. Oh man, Roach is in here as well. That's so problematic. You can't let a run by like this off into your main or natural. I might just be game ending because at this stage, it's a nice little block with these Archons up here. But now the Swarm hosts have freedom to get around. Stats wasn't able to pick off a single one of these Niduses, which was, something he was doing so well also. That is going to be GG. Let me just phrase my point a bit better. Because the run by gets in the main and the natural, suddenly Stats falls behind on denying Nidus networks. And as soon as you fall behind on denying Nidus networks, the Swarm hosts get a bit more of a choice of where they are. These Swarm hosts pop out, they take a really good fight from Dark, and that ends up kind of winning him the game. Even though Stats actually did a pretty good job stopping the run by doing damage, it's the commitment of units he has to send into the natural, into the main base, to stop that damage being done, which just gives the Swarm host so much freedom. And that wall being open is something you cannot allow to happen here. And that run by absolutely caught Stats very, very off guard, and Dark able to take a game 2 of the best of 3 to tie this up 1-1 in the series by going to a final map here between Stats. A third and final game as we go to the top left-hand side to start us off. The blue Protoss player here is Stats, taking on the red Zerg in the bottom right-hand side, Dark. And just as this one gets started up, just a quick reminder as well, guys, we are on our road towards 15,000 subscribers here on YouTube. If you're watching, if you're enjoying, again, we upload the best casts from the stream. And also, this one is a YouTube exclusive, so this was one I just cast solely for YouTube. And nowhere else. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing and you want to hear more of it, please hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we're on our road to 15,000. Our goal for 2020 is 20,000, and we're well on track for that. But maybe we can extend that goal. Maybe we can hit 25,000 if we keep it going, if we keep the hype up. I'm very committed to continue bringing you guys great YouTube content this year, and so far it's been great. I've loved doing it for you guys, and the love I've seen in return has been fantastic as well. So thank you so much for that. With that said, Nightshade is our third map, and questions already spring to mind. Is Stats going to play Triple Oracle for the third game in a row? How many times can you do that before it just becomes too predictable from Dark? I mean, not like Triple Oracle is super easy to kind of counter, but it does delay a couple things, right? By going Triple Oracle, 3 Stargate units, you are slowing down your tech elsewhere a little bit. Not massively. I mean, 2 Oracle and a Phoenix is a pretty standard opener as well, and that's 3 Stargate units too. So there's maybe sometimes Dark probably knows them better than I can to maybe take advantage of that. But will Stats do it again, right? That's the point where you can obviously have a lot of variance in ZvP as the Protoss player, because you're coming in with, as the player, even with a Stargate open, you can go 1 Oracle into like a very fast tech choice. You can go an Oracle into Phoenix and double Stargate Phoenix. You've got so many options. Like I said, double Oracle Phoenix an option as well. Stats really does like the Triple Oracle, but that doesn't mean he has to play it every single time. If he wants to change it up and make things a little bit more tricky for Dark, keep him guessing, keep him wondering, oh, what is next? Oh, what are you going to do now? And so on and so forth. As the Cybercore finishes up, an Adept going to get Chrono boosting. And we're going to be seeing this Nexus about to complete here. Stargate on the way in the main base. And the Overlord just hanging out at the front. The third hatchery already dropping down on the bottom side. So setting that up as a couple of extra queens coming into play. Building this up at the moment here as we do have our Stargate again coming along. Coming up to being about halfway done. And that Warp Gate on the Cybernetics core just ticking along quite nicely here at the moment as well. In depth, going to be about halfway along at the moment. And just waiting to see what comes out of the Stargate, guys. I mean, Stats is making this a pretty, get up and standard, get to it sort of PVZ at the moment. As we will see the first Oracle on the way out. And we are... Oh, I've lost my microphone. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, guys. My microphone's having some issues. That's interesting. Is that my wire being messed up? Okay, well, sorry for that, guys. Hopefully there's no extra weird sounds or anything going on. I apologize for that. Yeah, apologies, guys. Hopefully not too much of an issue. Yeah, sorry, slight tech issue here. We'll just continue on. If it happens again, I'll pause the game and try and fix it or so. As you do see a couple of adepts trying to come over in towards the main base there. Not having much luck at all, as we're going to be seeing this Oracle. Similar sort of idea, heading its way around over to this right-hand side, as these couple of adepts will continue back home. So where were we at? What is the commitment here? So there's a second Oracle already on the way up. Exact same setup from Stats yet again. One difference this time, he didn't actually bring the Oracle out to kill off this Overlord. So he's actually going to send the first Oracle straight across the map with 2 queens here, and it's a way to change it up, but that's a miss micro, and this Oracle takes a lot of damage for one single drone kill. So that is a little bit of a shame. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're really hoping for way more than that, right? And especially to then let this Overlord stay alive a bit longer as well. I like the idea. It's a little bit of a change up in a very minor way. Now he comes through and he can kill this Overlord off. Robo Facility dropping down behind it, and Stats again not really looking to make too many changes. In fairness, the first game went very well for him, and the second game was going great as well until he slipped up and let units into the natural and hence into the main. And that's obviously an easy mistake to fix, so if it ain't broke, why fix it? Might just be Stats' approach to this game number 3 right now, as we do see the 4 adepts. They're going to go shading forwards in toward the natural expansion here already, so moving their way in, try and see what they can do. A single Zergling of Dark running around the top 3rd base. And that Zergling already coming down in towards this probe, which takes a few shots of damage as well. The sentries will continue over, the Zergling's being pushed away still. And again, Twilight Council Forge on the way up in the back of the natural expansion here, as we do see the 3 Oracles all joined up together, all making their way down the bottom of the map. And making their way in towards the main base now, to try and see what is next for them. So in they move, couple of queens already in position. Oracle already goes down. I mean, it's just a disaster, really. These poor Oracles, they're not having much fun this game. Now, here's an opportunity, at least. No queens in the natural. Obviously, there is the Spore, but you can sit here for a while and deal damage, but that's 2 drones left on half health. They should have gone down. Only 2 workers killed in Stats. It's really not getting much done as Dark moves in towards Roach production, Roach speed, +1 missiles. Will we see the Infestation Pit and the Nidus Network going down again? I mean, that's a question which remains to be seen, as we do have Stats Army moving out into the center here. So a few Adepts, a few Sentries moving through, Zergling getting picked off already. There's a couple of gates dropping down in the main base. Zergling's still on the way out here from Dark as well. And we're just going to be seeing the 2 Oracles from Stats making their way down to the bottom. Going to pick off a couple of drones already. So 2 drones going down. This hatchery, 4th base being built. So Stats at least getting this information. Dark's only on 55 workers, mind you, and building quite a few roaches, which is... I mean, if he feels afraid, then sure, but what is he to feel afraid of? Making Ravages even. Really sort of suggests this idea of wanting to just attack and then Aspire behind it to play the switch up afterwards. Dark's going for this +1 roach speed attack, and he is absolutely aiming to get damage done with this. Another Oracle has fallen as it went for some drone kills. Now coming back, we'll realize these roaches and Ravagers are running at him. Stats has 1 shield battery on the 3rd base. He has 3 Immortals, mind you, and he does have some force fields. This Oracle might want to activate and help out. Good first force fields, actually. What does this Oracle want to do? I think activate and target down Ravagers is the best kind of go-to right now. Remember, the shield battery in the back will help a bit, but there's not much to really tank for these Protoss units. Sentries are all now out of energy or already dead. There's a couple of extra Zealots warping in as well. Charge is seconds away, so it's a nice timing here from Dark. It is before his +1 missiles, but again, striking before you see the charge coming in can be considered a good little positive as well, as this Oracle going wild at the moment and is really helping to get rid of this Ravager count. The Stats will turn this first attack away, but round 2 of Dark is about to come at Stats, and it's not in the form of a ground army, it's in the form of a set of Mutalisks in the sky. So this sky attack might be what causes Stats some issue now. He has a bit of anti-air, but not too much of it. There's not too much preparation being made here. Now Immortal's actually in some trouble. Zergling's getting in there, and the Archon wasn't ready, so not enough splash damage to take those Zerglings down quick enough, meaning that Stats really ends up taking a bit more damage than he would have hoped for. 3 more Zealots warping in on the 3rd base, all of these moving forwards and joining in with the rest of this army as well. And Dark just, well, 4th base up and running, but not really running, right? I mean, it's there, it's being used for kind of production. As Mutalisks are made, Stats is actually moving onto the map, which might just be his downfall here, because, again, there's no real preparation for Mutalisks back at home. There's a cannon and shield battery on the 3rd base. That's just to defend general attacks. And Stats is even going to commit to the attack. I mean, he pulled back home, which suggests he won't. But now it means that Dark has extra time to set up roaches against this. The Mutal is obviously going to deal a lot of damage here. You can already see a lot of probes going down. These Mutalists can then fly into the main base as well. Some Stalkers warped in to help defend against those Mutalists, but I mean, Dark sees it and he knows that Army's on the map as well, so he's going to bring the Mutalists back to make this one large fight. First of Bars will force the Warp Prism to unsiege, but he takes some hits, so now the Warp Prism is easily targetable by the Mutalists. The Mutalists will just dive for the Warp Prism, which means no micro, no reinforcements, and Stats is stuck with what he's got. And that's a fight that I don't think Stats wants to take at all. He kind of knows it too. He's already pulling back, realizing this isn't a fight right away, but he's actually also saying, well, what am I pulling back for? What am I pulling back to? The Mutalists fly in here. There's a couple of cannons. He's just going to bypass those and go into the main base. Meanwhile, Stats still pressing at the front, but there's been so much time to build up roaches at this point. It's going to be tough as we do see a good couple of force fields already. Roaches and Ravages being picked off. A couple of corrosive bars dropping down. Not really connecting though, as Dark wanting to continue moving down this ramp. The army here from Stats continuing to fight. The Roaches and the Ravages still taking a bunch of damage. I mean, the drone count going down as well, but remember that these Mutalists are just in control of the game. They're already killing off pylons, and more Roaches are coming out all of the time here. So these Roaches are just continuing to stack up in numbers. Can they break through this Protoss army? The Archon count is pretty much gone. Only one of those left. The two Immortals don't really have much buffer either. Some reinforcing Zealots from the top side. Couple extra Stalkers, but is it enough? Only two Immortals left standing. And again, the Mutalists are continuing to work their way through the main base behind all of this, as these Roaches will go down. These Ravagers are going to make their way forwards, and that's the end of these Immortals. And Stats, honestly, not a bad defense against the first round of Roach Ravager, but zero preparation, zero scouting on the Mutalists. And because of that, it becomes way too much of an issue. These Mutalists are just picking off pylons and all sorts back across the map. And yes, Dark was put in trouble here. He's brought down to 43 workers. His army supply is not exactly great, but it's enough when Stats can barely build anything himself. You know, gateways are being unpowered, so he doesn't have warping potential. Mutalists are just wrecking his main base. It's hard to do anything about them because you don't have mobility like Blink. You don't have Archons and a Prism. You don't have any of that. And so Dark ends up taking this one. GG's 2-1 victory, and he wins this matchup. In the end, like I said, I kind of favored Dark for this, but I'm not sure if this is a series Dark should have necessarily won. Stats was playing great in game number 2, and don't get me wrong, this game 3 was all about Dark, but Stats is only like a Spire scout away from being in a great spot, because if he scouts that Spire, then the first attack from Dark didn't really do much. The Spire shouldn't do much afterwards. Obviously, a lot of Dark's plans to keep Stats so busy defending that then the Spire isn't scouted as well. It's part of the build too, don't get me wrong, but this wasn't like a super convincing Dark that I'd usually expect to see from Dark. So for me, this was not the Dark you expect to see at all. As Dark takes it 2-1. A win, but again, maybe could be more convincing. We'll see how he fares. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this YouTube only cast today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. One last mention to obviously like, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, next couple of days, we're starting up the WardiTV Spring Championship on the Twitch stream, the first qualifiers for that, so we might have some good uploads from there. There was also some great matches in the ESL Pro Tour Open Cups yesterday, so we'll probably have some uploads from there before we do some more IEM Katowice casts deeper into the week. So thank you so much for watching today. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to have a great rest.